Hi everyone, it's Leslie here, and I'm going to take you through how I make my favourite coffee and salt body scrub, and I add some fabulous essential oils. So I'm going to take you through why I use a coffee scrub in particular and what combination of oils I use and how I determine that as I go through. So I'm starting with the base, which I've pre-mixed, and in here is 1 cup of coffee grounds, half a cup of salt, and 1/4 cup of fractionated coconut oil. So the reason I use salt, so a lot of recipes call for sugar here for that extra exfoliation effect. I don't eat sugar because I'm a keto athlete, and so I know that what I put on my skin ends up inside my body as well. So if I don't eat sugar, I actually don't want to use sugar in a skin product, because this is essentially a self-care product, but it's also a wellness product. So it's a really low tox and cheap way, forgive the cat, it's a really low tox and cheap way to do some self-care. But the reason I do a coffee body scrub is that the caffeine in these coffee grounds promote blood flow. And so when we promote blood flow, we promote recovery after running, we promote general healing, and we can also apply oils and add oils to this that are going to enhance things like our lymphatic system, or we can give ourselves other wellness supports. And so I'll talk through some of those options at the end. Now, when you first put the 1/4 cup of coconut oil in here, and it's the fractionated coconut oil that doesn't go solid, okay? Because you don't want this to solidify at all. You're going to need to mix it around for a good few minutes until it goes all the way through and it's mixed together. Because at first, that 1/4 cup is not going to seem like it's enough, but once it's mixed through like this, it becomes nice and moist and evenly distributed. Now you can see that I'm mixing this in a glass bowl. You can also use a metal bowl, but please don't use plastic, and that goes to storage too. Now, the next step is to add 15 to 20 drops of your essential oil. Now, I'm going to talk you through a combo that I use predominantly to support healing and recovery. And when I say healing and recovery, it is really talking about detoxing substances, and so that we can get the byproducts of exercise out of the system and facilitate getting nutrients into the system. So we're doing that firstly by using coffee as a base, because that is facilitating blood flow. Now, I always do a little bit of a blending class when I start to talk about oils that I'm using in combination, because I like to have, say, a light citrus, a bit of a floral, and a more woody oil, a more earthy oil to really ground myself. And I find that combination can be quite pleasing as an aroma, because let's face it, this is also a bit of a spa moment, and so you want the smell of this to be really awesome. So oils that I really like to start with. So let's talk about the floral, and this is a floral, kind of the middle note in a sense, and this is geranium. Now, the reason I'm jumping in with geranium is that it is a super oil for facilitating detoxification. So as I was talking to you about, recovery is all about moving the byproducts out and the good stuff in, and geranium is a winner for that. And it's got that nice floral smell, a little bit rosy, but without being so full on, and a little bit cheaper than a rose essential oil. Then I go for some citrus, and you can add 1 or 2 citrus. Now, to get an idea of how 2 oils smell together, you can just pop them next to one another, and as you can see, they're lined up evenly. And I smell that, and I go, is that pleasing to me? And I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. It's neither is overpowering one another, and I quite like the idea of them being even. You can play around by changing the level. So for example, if bergamot comes up a little bit, the citrus dominates. Then if I put rose above, the floral dominates. Now the other way you can do it is literally, so we've got the coffee grounds in the bowl here, you can smell them over the top of the coffee. And so you can get that sense of how the scrub will smell as well. Now I'm going to add in that earthy, and now I'm going for vetiver. Now the reason I'm choosing vetiver is that this oil, when you pop it on your skin, is also known to increase blood flow. And so if my goal is increasing blood flow, it is a great way to combine the caffeine and the vetiver. So again, we can put it with the oils to start with. For me, this is quite pleasant. And popping it over the coffee, you can really smell how the vetiver and the coffee have that earthiness to it, and it kind of enhances each other. Now, citrus oils are another great solution and option for detoxing. It's why people add things like lemon to their water. But sometimes one citrus has a different sort of smell profile, a different aroma profile, if you will. And so we've got bergamot in there, but if I play around and add sort of wild orange, so I've got 4 here. And to me, wild orange tends to elevate this a little bit. So this 3, I'm like, yeah, that's nice. When I add the 4th, I'm like, whoa. And in terms of that, the citrus almost starts to dominate. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but again, adding that to the top of the coffee, you go, actually, the citrus starts to take that little bit of a back seat because we've got a little bit more earthiness from the coffee grounds themselves. Now, I said 15 to 20 because, for example, if we had 3 oils, I'd probably go 5 oils each, 5 drops each, sorry. But now that I've got 4 oils, to divvy that up by 15 is a little bit less, it's a little bit less precise. So we can go, hey, I quite liked them evenly in this instance, but you might choose to not do it evenly, okay? It's totally up to you. So I'm going to go ahead and put 5 drops of each in here. And I'm going to do it in the order that I was smelling them, so that I can sort of see the aroma profile build. So this is geranium. So what that is that's the 5 drops of geranium, but then I'm mixing it around and getting a good whiff. And because it's only 5 drops in that, you don't get much of a whiff, but you can smell it starting to build. Then we went the bergamot, so we're going to add 5 drops of the bergamot. And if an extra drop gets in, I kind of say, hey, that's the way it was meant to be. So again, let's smell that. Okay, bergamot is much more subtle, so you're almost not really smelling that yet. Now, vetiver. A bit of a thing with vetiver, and as you will see, it's a really thick oil because all the essential oils have different kinds of viscosity, and because vetiver is from the resin of a tree, essentially, it's a thicker oil and it takes longer to come out. So you can use a pipette, or you can just take some time. Now, while I'm taking some time for this to come out, let's talk about how you could mix that up. So for additional earthiness, you could add frankincense instead of the vetiver. There we go, that was 1 drop of vetiver coming out. And frankincense is a fabulous all-round oil. It is all about cellular health and will enhance the properties of other oils when you add it. The other one you could add for earthiness, and even though it's not a resin, is turmeric, because This is really, again, it's got that earthy feel, but if we've got a focus of maybe reducing inflammation in our system, turmeric would be a great oil to add. It's also one of the hotter oils, so you'd only want to use a small amount. And when I say hotter oils, it's got that spiciness to it. So it's kind of a use with care one, but it is another great one for blood flow and inflammation. Okay, so those are great alternatives to the vetiver. Or even you could add it on top of, yeah? You can keep adding oils if you want, but there's no need to go beyond 3 or 4. And I'll tell you in a moment that you can even potentially scale that back and how to make it a bit simpler. And so here we go. That vetiver's in, and now we've got that earthiness coming up. Now the last step is to add the 5 drops of the wild orange. So that went in and mixing through. Now, it's really not till you get those 20 drops in that you get the full profile of the aroma. Now, coffee is still going to be dominant, but those oils are going to come out once you get it in the shower, because then you need to store this, right? You want to store it in glass or metal container. Now, you probably don't want to take a glass container into the bathroom, into the shower for obvious reasons, yeah? But you could store, if you made a big batch, you could store it in a glass jar, and then after that, all you need to do, super easy, just get a plastic cup or something and put the amount that you want to use. Now, this scrub is ready to go. Basically, jump in the shower and rub it all over your body. Like, really focus. For me, I like to focus on my lymphatic system as well. And so that's focusing on behind the knees, around the clavicle and around the chest, even underarms. Depending on the oils, if you've used more gentler oils, you could use it around the hips and the groin. So anywhere where you've got those lymph glands going, let's get this coffee scrub out there. So I've talked about moving through inflammation, moving through recovery. Now, you might have some other goals in place. If you are doing this at night and you're keen to have some really soothing oils, you can do this with things like lavender and wild orange, and then a fabulous oil. And I really like to make things a little bit special and use some of the limited edition oils that you can get from time to time. And one of the ones in my collection is Hinoki. And Hinoki is one way of describing it. It is like a Japanese sandalwood. And so a lot of you know that I'm a big fan of forest bathing, and Hinoki has a lot of those stress reducing properties that our Shinrin Yoku blend has. It's also fabulous on the skin. So if you are wanting to look after your skin that little bit more, adding Hinoki, a bit of lavender, a bit of wild orange, that would be a super special combo as well. Now, if you were wanting to use this in the morning, you could have that same combo of 4 oils and maybe add some peppermint, because when you're adding this mint, you will get that invigoration happening. You know, you're adding that reinvigoration. If you're going to go into the sun, right, save a scrub that's using citrus oils for maybe the evening and when you're not going to go straight into the sun for a few hours. So just really bear that in mind, because citrus oils can make us a little bit more sensitive to sun and might make it easier for us to get burnt. But citrus oils and peppermint, for example, are great for reinvigorating if you're going to be spending the day inside. But you could even do something like a geranium and peppermint. So you've got a floral and a mint, and it's just pretty special. And so say we added something like a Hinoki to that. Let's go. It's a bit of a blending class at the same time. And you've got some grounding there. Can I just say, that's really a combo worth trying out here. Peppermint, geranium, Hinoki. I feel that this could set up the day quite nicely. So if you are keen to use the scrub in the morning, maybe consider that as well. Now, okay, you might go to me, Leslie, I don't want to blend. I don't want to do what you just did. Okay? Well, there is a solution for you. There is a solution for you. And these are using some pre-made blends, right? So if you want the invigoration of Citrus Bliss, right, you can just go Citrus Bliss. And so this has a combination of citrus oils plus some vanilla, which gives it that extra bada bing, bada boom, I say. And so you could just go 15 to 20 drops of Citrus Bliss, bang, you're done. If you wanted to go and have a bit of a floral with that, there's Citrus Bloom out and about. So that's another good one to use. Or you could just jump a bit of 15 drops of the Citrus Bliss and 5 drops of geranium, or play around like that. So you don't need to go and play with all your oils if that's not up your alley. But if you've got oils that you haven't tried before, this is a great way to bring some of them into your self-care and wellness routine, because this is a cheap way, really cost-effective way to give yourself some at-home spa time. But at the same time, you are supporting your body's inflammatory pathways, your recovery pathways, and then lymphatic pathways potentially, depending on the oils that you use. So for example, if you did want to support some sore muscles at the same time, you could use an oil like Aromatouch. Now, Aromatouch is a fabulous blend of oils that include things like cypress and lavender, and geranium amongst other things, I think. I'm not 100% sure actually of the combination of oils, but you get my point. It's called the Spa Blend. It smells amazing, but it supports the lymphatic system and it supports soothing muscles. So you could just go 15 to 20 drops of that, bang in here, and you have your coffee salt scrub done in like less than 5 minutes, right? And if you've got a coffee machine at home, it means that you are repurposing a waste product. If not, go check out your local cafe. Yeah, I'm sure they're happy to spare some coffee grounds for you, because it's basically a waste product for them as well. So there you have it. In summary, right? I use a coffee salt scrub because caffeine promotes blood flow. It is going to keep my skin nice and smooth. It's going to facilitate anti-inflammatory and recovery pathways for me. Now, I use salt instead of sugar because basically what goes on our skin goes into our body, and if I don't eat sugar, I'm not going to put it on my skin. And then in terms of the oils, just choose oils that match your wellness goals. So for example, anti-inflammatory, you might want to add things like turmeric and frankincense. You want something that's more invigorating, you might want to do some peppermint and some citrus. Or you can just, don't even blend stuff together. You can just use something like the Aromatouch blend, and that will support your lymphatic pathways as well. So absolutely winning. Let's do this, guys. Let's save money using essential oils. Let's support our wellness, and let's just make stuff easy for ourselves, yeah? Whilst looking after ourselves at the same time. See you all later.